The TCS reported its fourth quarter earnings on Friday. Remember, the company reported a big beat in margins, clocked in record deal wins. However, they missed revenue expectations. So my colleagues Prashant and Rima caught up with TCS's CEO K Krithivasan and the COO N Ganapathy Subramaniam and began by asking him about the quarter gone by and how they see growth going ahead. Listen into that conversation.
We were able to improve our margin by close to 100 bips and deal wins were all-time high. So all in all, a very satisfying quarter.
What was your own internal expectation of growth?
We would have been happy around 1.5%.
1.5%. And where has the miss come in compared to your own expectations? You said certain geographies did well, better than expected, certain did not. So vertically and geographically, if you could tell us.
See, North America was very flattish. Maybe North America were expected slightly more. That could have, because North America being a big geography, even a few percentage points better than what we delivered North America could have tilted it.
Is 2024 looking better? I mean, is it looking like it's picking up?
For us, FY24 is over.
Okay. No, the calendar, I mean. FY is over, but calendar is in front of you.
See, as we've been saying, we expect FY25 to be better than FY24.
Okay. How much better? I mean, are you getting confidence to kind of put some numbers in the ballpark?
That will be too early to call at this time. This year has been very different. Like, we've not been able to make a particular... see, people are making decisions at very short notices. So that would be a different call to make at this time.
And just the US market, right? Just to, because that's the big one. That's doing just fine. I mean, you get the numbers, the data points, the economic data points, jobs number, we got the inflation number. I mean, the problem there is that they want things to slow down. It's not slowing down, and but it's not translating into to orders and sort of spending decisions being quick and firm. Why is that in your opinion, and do you think it'll pick up?
That's the anomaly. Really look at it, all the economic indicators are okay, and actually if you look at the credit rate hikes, number one, or interest rate hikes, manufacturing is actually doing well. The consumer demand, specifically in the high-end fashion segments, they're all picking up. But then that's not translating into discretionary spends on the technology side, right? So, that's an anomaly that we see in terms of, why certain things are behaving certain manner.
The stock market is at all-time high.
Yeah, it's an all-time high. Yeah. So I think it's maybe it's explained to certain uncertainties like geopolitical situations, the wars, and as well as the election thing that's going on. I think it should ease out, but I'm not seeing anything fundamentally wrong with our customers. They're all.
The question is, if the big thing is higher interest rates in the US, right? 5.25%. If higher interest rates have not hurt, whenever interest rates come down, will they help?
That's precisely the point. Whatever models we all had, whether it's from economic perspective or from our own internal modeling of how that will translate into budget spend, etc. They're all, there's some anomaly, which means that there's something which is happening, which is influencing the decisions. I would attribute it to very, very fast pace of technology maturity and technology change, right? If you take Gen AI, every day there is something new happening there. If you take cyber security, the threats are getting bigger and bigger every day, and so people are investing in these areas, right? So I think, what everybody is looking at it is, okay, let's look at the war, let's look at what's going to happen in the Middle East, what's happening in the Ukraine side. Almost all major markets, if you look at it, there is an election, right? So let's see how these things pan out, and should we really invest in Asia, should we really invest in North America itself, right? So many variations that are going through our customers' minds, which actually the only reason that I can put in terms of explaining why they are holding back some of this. At the same time, the AI as a centerpiece, the architectures are changing, right? And they want to make sure that the architecture that they choose and a multi-cloud strategy that they choose and the resilience that they want to bring into the overall technology, all that, they want to probably assess and make sure they get it right, before they step up the gas.
That is delaying things.
I think so. I think, basically there is a first phase of any new technology transformation, if you look at it, getting the architecture right. And have we got the multi-cloud strategies right? Is there a scope for a private cloud in the overall multi-cloud strategy? How do we use the LLMs? And what part of my data that I don't mind sharing it outside? What point of data and what part of the competitive advantage that I want to keep it inside? See, there are multiple things at play. So all that probably is taking that decision a little.
But that's very well explained, NGS, to understand why spending is taking time. But Krithi, discretionary spending, has it further deteriorated? Because Accenture spoke about it.
See, if you look at again from our deal wins, okay, we reported a huge, significant deal win. And if you cut that, right, about 55% of that is new or discretionary spend, and about 60% could be non-discretionary. Again, non-discretionary could be in terms of some of them, or maybe renewals, some of them, or regulatory changes, if you can put it. So I won't say it's a drastic reduction. Like, people are wanting to spend, but at the same time, like NGS mentioned, like they also want to conserve. Like, if things turn around to be good, if they all become confident the economy is going to grow faster, they need to be ready to sprint and ready for the transformation. So there is a certain amount of getting fit also being done. So I won't call it the discretionary spend is decisions are being made. I don't think there is a huge slowness, right? But what is happening is the old projects, we keep talking about it. There is a slowdown or pause of the old projects where they don't see the ROI. That's a continuing trend.
Okay. And margins, are margins sustainable at 26% according to you, X of the decline that we'll see in Q1 because of wage hikes? But other than that?
We believe structurally it's a sustainable margin. Like, we worked hard to get here, and we'll work hard to stay here.
On just to press another point on AI, because that's a big thing which is happening, right? And everything is in a flux, as I think, if I paraphrase what NGS told us. Is it a net? How far out from when we are able to kind of sort of start talking about projects on that side? When does it become a net positive? When does it stop delaying projects, and how far out are we, you think?
See, like, there are a lot of experiments going on, a lot of exploratory work going on. Like, as of today, I believe we are doing close to about 200 plus engagements, and our pipeline on this one is close to 900 million AI plus Gen AI together. So there is a lot of activity going on. And as like with any other hype cycle, there will be some realization on what is the art of possible here, what you should do with Gen AI, what you should not try to do with Gen AI, because it's fairly a compute intense technology. It's not going to come cheap. People also try to understand how expensive it is, or where are the economic benefits. It will probably take few more quarters, right, for them to understand which are the appropriate use cases for this technology.
Just to get the number right, $900 million is the pipeline
yeah,
for AI and generative
correct,
AI.
yeah.
Okay. NGS, particularly on communications, right? This quarter, communications on a quarter-on-quarter basis appears to have fallen slightly. But one would have thought the ramp-up of the BSNL deal would have contributed positively. So are there any other clients in communication where there is pressure, or what explains the performance?
Or BSNL, that is not reported under communication. BSNL gets reported on the regional markets.
Okay. But in the verticals, it's...
Our vertical is, you have CMI, and the regional markets includes India. It gets included in India.
Which is up 26% on a year-on-year basis. Okay. And what about BFSI? BFSI is still flat. The last time we spoke, I think there was hope that there are green shoots in BFSI and they'll start improving.
I think, overall the deal momentum is there. We have done close to about 4.5 billion out of the overall 13 plus billion is from BFSI, right? But as I said, BFSI is one of the segments which is very quick to adopt technology, which is the one which tries out everything new. In that context, I think the artificial intelligence, multi-cloud, and things like sustainable financing, Basel III kind of experimentation that they have to do. Many such areas is something that we are participating. But then all this the momentum will pick up as they finalize the first phase of saying that this is how I want to do things. This is the way that it has to be, let's say, disaggregated, or this is the way that it has to be aggregated for dashboards and MIS purposes and all of that. So I think there's nothing wrong which we see in our customer base. We are engaging with them very positively, but there is a certain amount of caution in terms of, look, where is it? The geopolitical risks are going, and where the technology side of it, how am I going to actually get it right? Because every time they do, when they accelerate it, if something new happens, then the question comes back saying that, have we made the right decision on the architecture, right? Okay. So I think that's the way that I think there are some delays, but overall I don't see anything wrong with the banking financial services sector, especially in our client portfolio.
Would you say AI is the biggest, would both of you agree, is the biggest sort of X factor in that sense, which will determine how fast things come back?
I would say yes, from both positive perspective and a certain amount of pessimism which is there. See, if you really look at it, there are regulations that are being talked about on AI, right? So everyone is now looking at AI for internal use, right? But at the same time, if I'm going to make use of the artificial intelligence for customer-facing situations, there are two things that we have to answer. One is that we have to make it responsible. Second is that if regulation comes and does something, and then how am I going to roll it back? Or so that from that perspective, all the efficiency related use cases internally that is happening is what is the focus. While they are
within TCS, but customer facing.
No, not only within TCS,
right.
Within the customer,
okay.
Let's say back office efficiencies,
sure.
or technology efficiencies that they can do, they're all fine, right? But if I'm going to make that analytics to put to use for, let's say, interacting with customers better, or making the customer interactions much more efficient, etc., there is some tentativeness, because the models which they planning to use, will they be regulated? Or if they regulate it, then what will be the impact? Am I going too much far ahead, and then it will be difficult for me to pull it back later? So there is certain amount of caution in all of that.
Okay, well, AI is the big X factor which will determine how fast clients start spending money. Older projects, clients are delaying as they don't see requisite ROIs. But overall, remain positive that FY25 perhaps will be better than FY24. We'll take